Amazing. So welcome everyone on Wallet Demo 23rd already. Today we're going to talk regarding governance. We're going to take a look a bit more in the details compared to what we had before. Also, we will take a look on what we recently just provided to the App Store and Google Play releases of Nova. Specifically, it would be the last community requested features of current Kusama Treasury proposal. And in the end of the presentation, we will take a look on the updated roadmap and highlights. So let's begin. Quick reminder while we're waiting for others to join, you can scan the QR code and check the social media links of Nova and of course follow and join them. But yeah, let's proceed with the community requested features request release, which is version 3.9. So overall, the main feature of that release was to provide the total balance breakdown, which allows you to see all your locked tokens across all of the networks in the ecosystem. So that allows you to see in one place all the locks with all the reasonings behind them, right? So we can see all tokens which are in stake, all tokens that sent to the crowd loan, and other reasoning for the locks, for example, vesting, right? So now it's available on your main screen. You can see decomposition of your total balance. So the total balance is remain to be like the top one. And also the locked balance now will be shown if it is available. And once you tap, you can see the decomposition of this. For iOS users, since we have the max button, for some of the networks like Moonbeam, Moonriver, there was a bug of Nova wrongly calculating the 100% or max amount to be sent. Now we have fixed it. So now there will be no dust after you send tokens using this max button. So that's congratulations. And let me quickly switch the sharing to the iOS device so that I can demonstrate these features real quick before we go to the governance. So let me see. All right, I think you should see my screen. Can you please confirm this? Amazing. So the total balance breakdown is really can be accessed from the asset screen. So you can tap on the stop widget on the locked balance, and now you will be able to see all your locks. So you can see that the transferable part of your balance is 9.6%, and the amount in the fiat value. And the locked part of the balance is 90.40 something, right? And the fiat value of that. And now you can see the whole decomposition of what exactly is locked, right? So it's useful in many ways. So first, you can briefly understand the decomposition of your locks, right? So how many tokens you're staking in Kusama, how many tokens you're staking in DOT, and all of these details. And also the second thing is related to the current, let's say, environment or the landscape of average, or not average, but the user in the Polkadot. So if you have contributed to multiple crowd loans, you might just lost tracking of all these rewards, which are vested and which you need to claim from time to time. Maybe you don't need to claim them because it depends on certain project, right? But all in all, now you can see these details on this decomposition. So for me, it's now, that account participated in lots of crowd loans. But the idea here is that you won't be able to miss all these details right now, because you now have an understanding for all of this information, all these tokens that have been previously vested on your account. So you can now go and check what's going on and how you can claim them from the various of the projects. So that's a really good one. Another feature is that we updated the total balance in the way that before it was not including the crowd loans, right? So before the crowd loans, due to their specific of being the transfer of to another account, it was meaning that basically it's not your tokens anymore, right? Because the tokens are moved to the system account of Polkadot or Kusama, and that's why from the blockchain on Polkadot and Kusama, you cannot receive it as balances, right? But now we will include this information regarding the contributed tokens to the crowd loans to the total balance. So now the total balance is including this information. So whenever you will contribute next to Polkadot or Kusama crowd loan, you will no longer see your balance being reduced, right? Because the nature of the crowd loans that you're locking tokens in favor of certain projects, right? You're not losing them. So that's also a great UX addition of that release. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to paste them in the chat and let's proceed further. All right. So governance. Just a quick recap, what our plan would be to develop and deliver the governance in Nova. So first of all, in current proposal, we have, let's say not limited scope, but really defined scope to provide a clean and simple solution for the governance. We are going to aim supporting both governance versions, so current generation one and the next one, which is going to roll up pretty soon on Kusama and later on the Polkadot, right? And we are also working on the concept how we can involve more users to the governance, so we can increase participation rate, so we can involve more users and provide them a convenient interface to participate in the governance. So that the details about that will be defined in the next proposal. The current status of the governance features are the following. Most of the work which we needed to do in terms of like designing the mockups, researching the API and all the technical details, they are done. And now we already started to develop governance features into the Nova. So in our internal builds, it's already available to see all the referendums available for voting. And also we have redesigned the tab for the governance. So before or currently in Nova, you can see the tab, which is basically a crowd loans, right? But it's a nature of how ecosystem is evolving, right? So the crowd loans is now not like the hottest topic in the Polkadot and Kusama compared to the like previous time periods. And it's also really fitting the nature of basically like what you're doing in the crowd loans and what you're going to do in the governance, right? So you're going to vote, you're going to select something, right? Which means that we can unite both the governance and the crowd loans and set the governance to be the default tab whenever user is going to this screen. And we can unite them to basically a voting tab, right? So now crowd loan features are not forbidden. So they're not going away in Nova. They're still remaining the same. It's just we are moving them to the separate place now, right? Because we really want to focus users' attention on the governance features. So that would be a nice addition. But yeah, you can see how the main screen of the governance will look like in our first iteration, how the how the referendum details will look like with the voting details inside and the big blue button to vote. Now, in the middle, you can see the screenshot of Nova, how you would be able to vote to a particular referendum. And the voting involves not only selecting a certain amount of the tokens, but also it involves something like the multiplier of the voting power, right? So you can increase the locking period, right? Which will increase your votes. So in this case, you'll have more voting power, but your tokens will be locked for a longer period, right? There is also one interesting UX challenge which we are going to solve like first iteration of the governance, and then we're going to improve this in the next releases. But the thing is that if you're already staking your tokens, those tokens can be used. The same tokens can be used in the governance. So you will not introduce new locks if you're going to vote in favor of the certain referendum using your stake token. So you're not going to introduce additional locks on your account, but instead you will reuse the same amount that you have in staking. So you have kind of the room for voting if you're staking your tokens, right? So that's why we have this nice button called reuse lock tokens. And even if you participated in the like different referendums, then this button will also shine, because if you already locked the tokens, you can see like available tokens for the voting from the previous referendums, let's say. But yeah, also the all information regarding like how your locked tokens would be changed depending on your new inputs, like the amount and the locking period. And also the locking period can be changed as well, depending on this input of the multiplier. So as well as checking the details of the certain referendum, you would be able to use the Nova DApp browser to visit the Polka assembly or Subsquare or any governance-focused DApp in Polkadot right in Nova. So just to give you an example, on Polka assembly, you can provide a reaction or post a comment to the certain proposal. So you can communicate with the community on the Polka assembly and on the Subsquare, and you can do it from Nova because we have a DApp browser which will allow you to sign in your account and post any comments you would like to. Also, you will be able to see the timeline, and timeline is allowing you to understand in what stages was the referendum and what stage is currently of the referendum and what's the status. So that's also a good addition. The full details would be on the bottom of the details of the referendum, and that will be serving mostly for understanding like technical nature of the referendums, because if that's a referendum to, let's say, update the runtime, then we would like to put it somewhere in some place like that. So the advanced users can still access it using the Nova, but for the most of the users, we are prioritizing the main information for the voting. And also you would be able to, of course, see the decomposition or the list of the all voters. So in the details of each referendum, you can see the like statistics, right? And you can see the list of people who voted, and you would be able to see like how many tokens they locked for, how much conviction, and all these details available for you. All right, so that's regarding the governance preview. I can see the question, but let me just quickly check it. All right, so let's go back to the presentation, and then we will address the questions. So the roadmap. So our roadmap is slightly updated in terms of like achievements and the statuses, because we are just entering the fourth quarter this year. But speaking about the results and achievements of the last quarter, the new points here is that we finally completed the community requested features from the previous proposal. So all of them are done and available in Google Play and App Store, which is great. And also as like a summary, now it's 63 networks which are supported in Nova Wallet, and also like 170 plus tokens available. So which is great. And now, as it says here, the final, let's say, feature set, which we planned for a while now, would be the governance. So we're going to support governance 1.0 and the next generation 2.0 governance as well. In the first iteration, and as well in the next one, for which we are working now, composing the next proposal. So yeah, that would be it. That's our status and the updates. Let me see the comments one more time. Yeah, that's exactly was our motivation and justification of uniting the crowd loans and the governance to one tab for the voting. We might change the name, like a vote and the icon, but the concept is the following. Yes, the desktop version is in progress. I would say that the desktop version has more priorities for the enterprise features, but on the long term, we will also roll out, let's say, the consumer-based features as well. But priority would be for a while for the enterprise. Will you be able to submit proposals as well? Not in the current scope of the proposal. Of our, let's say, treasury grant, right? So our treasury grant is really, let's say, defined around the following features. So you would be able to see all referendums, vote for them, see all the details of the referendums, and such things. But the next one might include submitting the proposal, because as we understand in the governance 2.0, basically everyone can submit a proposal, and further everyone can vote. So we can see how we can involve into that. It was also a question for us, should we include the consulars features of the governance 1.0 or not to the Nova, because what is going to happen on the landscape of the networks in the Polkadot is that the Kusama and Polkadot are going to update to the governance 2.0, but the rest of the networks are most likely going to still use the previous generation governance, so governance with the counselors, right? So, and it makes sense to provide the interface for them. And moreover, we even have a feature suggestions like that, but we will evaluate, let's say, the reasoning behind including this to next proposal or not, because we're still talking about very few users comparing to all the user base, but still this is a power user, so it might worth to develop and deliver something like that. And also we have some idea, like in this next generation gamified governance, how we can introduce motivation for people to submit the next proposals by themselves as well. So yeah, definitely this is on our list. All right. Are there any more questions? I would just kindly remind that you can also scan this QR code and go to our Kenny.io page and submit your feature requests. So you can tell us what kind of improvements you would like to see in Nova, or what kind of features you would like to see in Nova. And that's basically would be voted by the community and also absorbed by us. And since we do this process of community requested features now into the Kusama Treasure proposal, there are very high chances that basically your feedback will be heard and taken to the next proposal, and eventually the feature that you requested will be available in Nova. All right, so in this case, if there are no more questions, I would like to thank everyone for participating and see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.